All right, here I am. This is called street theater. I'm David Atkins. I'm a target individual. You go through this stuff every day, and this is just one more tactic. It's street theater and more, because I'm talking about more than just street theater, but I'm starting off with street theater. Take place around your neighborhood. These are recruits who have been illegally given your home address, or as a recruited person from within geographical neighborhood who are asked to show up around the target's private residence at all hours of the day or night, in particular if the target is home. The street theater can either be in group formation using the number of people who will show up near your residence, start making noise, have a loud conversation, and generally the conversations they're having will be specific to the target. There will also be solo individuals who walk dogs, babies. Most of the time, the perps will be on their cell phone, directing conversation using keywords that are person to the target. Another form of street theater is the use of public service and utilities, whereby you will see an influx of telecommunication or utility vans around the neighborhood. In addition to use the streets and transportation, whereby there always seen road work taking place, so that the target individual is directed to another area. Generally, if they're trying to set the target up to appear dangerous to children, like some type of pedophile, or dangerous to some type of official, they would direct all their so-called street traffic to pass by an area like schools or where children are. In addition to buildings or residences or official leaders will residents of officials or leaders within community organizations to give the false impression that the target is stalking these people or areas. This is deployed so as to further victimize the target by way of setups and entrapment. The targeted individual innocently follows the directional signs, generally not realizing that there's another recruit taking photos or video at the very moment the target shows up. This gives the architect's video or photos showing the target in some designated setup area so that it can be used in their fear mongering recruitment process. Another type of street theater will be used in the forms of young recruits who will come around the target so that photos and videos can be taken to once again give the false impression that the target was doing something nefarious. These young recruits are on a mission of destruction and will be told to deploy these underhanded tactics so that another recruit can capture a specific event to make the target look bad. Example, a young male or female recruit will be told to go up to an older male or female target and begin a conversation, or place themselves in compromising positions so that the male or female target can be photographed or videotaped with the target, giving the false impression that it was the targeted individual who initiated the act. And I know that might not happen as much as some of the other tactics, but just listen, I'm getting into more stuff. The absurdity of the absurdity of gangstalking protocol, proving it to be a generational warfare, can be seen in the following quote. To break this down for anyone who has half a brain and the ability to think for themselves, if the target were that horrible of a person or had committed such crimes, the architects behind the covert stages of profiling and warrantless stalking and surveillance would have in their covert stages actually had material evidence, which they don't have. As you shop, you will begin to notice the retail store begins to have an influx of people who appear to recognize who you are, but who are total strangers to you. Walmart is a big one where targeting goes on like that. Be on the lookout for some of the terrorist psychological tactics these citizen snitches will deploy in public settings. Stare at you, point, whisper, or giggle when you walk past them. Have directed conversations either with the person they're with on a cell phone. Use keywords as they pass by to let you know they are citizen snitches for the state. Psychological pain, bullying at work, friends and family suddenly lost leading to isolation. They love isolating us. Bullying in general, because of what appears a social problem with other people, the target individual moves to a place where attackers and manipulators can spread around any kind of rumor for people in the neighborhood can take control in another way. Gang stalking, rude people in crowds that appear and insult the individual using both verbal and nonverbal communication. Having 20 people or more strategically placed, for example, to look with a hateful look at the targeted individual. They're all strangers, they're all rude. They appear every time the targeted individual is outside and can take many different expressions. Sometimes it looks like they have some kind of scheme and harassment, follows the pattern, and when it achieves a certain stage, they reset themselves and start it all over again. Street theater is a group of people who play out a whole show for the individual, and it appears to follow a predetermined plot, following the targeted individual's thinking. The thought surveillance is perceived as humiliating. The home is entered. The perpetrators don't steal things but can destroy them and leave objects that don't belong there. They often seem to enter with a key because the doors are not forced. Thefts in town, at airports, money of belongings, destroyed means of transportation, car or bike. The use of color. Terrorize the target and let him know the civilian collaborative efforts taking place upon and against human lives. As a call sign to let undecorated brainwashed perps for this state incorporated domestic terrorist organizations know they are working as a team to destroy the human life of the solo targeted individual as a way to psychologically condition the target victim of this domestic operation. Total lack of support. When the target individual meets health professionals, they are not interested in what the TI tells them. Symptoms are treated the old-fashioned way. Many times, TIs are forced to take the wrong medication to agree, sometimes stigmatizing labels in order to receive their pension. In certain countries, the TI can be forced into psychiatry where total loss of human rights occurs. Blacklisting often leads to inability for the TI to find work or has to accept a job under their specialization. At the new job, the TI is constantly under harassment and is bullied. The police participants in harassment and is totally insensitive to what the TI goes through. The media ignores the TI's calls. Cyber stalking. The same goes for other units who, when recruited and given access to cyber capabilities, including to without a warrant, illegally monitor what the target may be doing with the privacy of their home via internet. They will also be cued with keywords to use when the target within hearing distance, so they can repeat what the target may have been doing in the privacy of their home, to include what they were watching on television, websites they're reviewing, to what they're reading, and then mimicking that very show, website, chapter, the book back to the target to let them know or give them an impression that they are monitoring every move the target makes. Setups. You will find being the victim of organized terrorist stalking. The perpetrator of all crimes being committed against you as a targeted individual are in many cases the same people who will then turn around in a reverse projection and pretend to be the victim of the insidious violence the targeted individual is being forced to endure. The truth, these are well organized double-speak tactics and they are used to further victimize the target individual. These so-called perp victims are simply actors who are used to further set up and destroy the target in order to meet their final objectives. Death. The gangstalking program can be described as a long-term and slow death with a constant life event of psychological and physical attacks and torture. During any of these 5 levels, the gangstalking agents have it within their power to take a target individual out and mark the target for death, and no one will be the wiser that the person was actually murdered by the secret push of a button, which is covered up by suicide, heart attack, etc., etc., etc. So look, I made another video, and I'm going to keep making videos describing this. If you're a target individual, and this is just to let you know what you're going through, I'm going through the same thing. I'm in the hospital right now with loss of my leg, and I can't use my bladder, but I'm hoping I get better. But I'm going to keep putting this out because this is information for the new TI and TIs in general to spread around to see what is happening and explain what's going on with them. I love y'all. I'm signing off. God bless y'all.